Activate voice control.
Welcome back to Enterprise. Access granted.
This is a medical device called the Resus-C cough stimulator. What it does is stimulate a cough in people who can't otherwise do so by themselves.
As you can see from this footage, Fusion Sport produces a range of technology solutions for professional teams, universities, schools, institutes of sport, and talent identification systems across the world.
Hydrexia is a hydrogen storage company that actually came from some technology developed out of the University of Queensland. It's revolutionary because it stores hydrogen in a very different way. The old way of storing it, in these pressurized cylinders, stores it at high pressure, and also you can't store very much of it. So there's a real problem with that. However, when you look at Hydrexia's technology, here, it stores a large amount of hydrogen in a small space and also in a light weight, and does it safely because it does it without any pressure.
Back pain is extremely common, and 80–90% of us experience it at some stage of our life. More commonly down here in the lower part of the spine, but we can experience it the whole way up the back. And that's why I developed BakBalls, a product that allows you to treat back pain in the comfort of your own home. By lying on BakBalls, these two pressure points applies pressure directly to the joints on either side of the back, which provides relief, very similar to going to your physiotherapist.
Pepfactants have exciting new properties. They're the first truly reversible, switchable surfactant.
As Andrew explains, our company is taking a radical new look at the huge global chemical market of emulsions and foams. In recent years, we've developed our products and our technology to work and improve household care, industrial machine shop fluids, and even agricultural sprays.
CVSDude started from an idea I had while I was working in the UK. Shortly after that period of time, I got back to Australia and took about 2 months to write the service and about $70 worth of spare parts on eBay. At that point in time, I released the product to the world and quickly noticed that customers were rapidly starting to use the service. Then I really knew I had something.
In 2007, in the laboratory, we developed a process that uses bacteria on an electrode for making valuable chemicals from wastewater. This process turned out to be very economical and very environmentally friendly, so that's why we started Bilexys.
CoolMe. As you can see, the vest here is cooling my whole torso in these hot conditions. Even when I haven't got access to a freezer, all I have to do is pour water in, and there we go, straight away, nice cold effect. And this is a single-use, disposable product.
Would your business have succeeded without the enterprise money?
There's no way my business would have been successful without winning the enterprise competition. Gave me huge media exposure. A couple of days after winning, I was on A Current Affair.
You lie like so for 20 to 30 seconds,
so
and then
pressure on that point.
Had several radio interviews, had magazine stories, newspaper articles. I was on Dragon's Den 1.5 years later as well.
By the look of Mark's face, either the den is awfully hot or the dragons are getting to him.
By winning the competition, it gave me huge media exposure and allowed me to launch the business overnight because I had millions of hits on the website, thousands of emails of interest, but more importantly, thousands of sales, which was fantastic for a startup business.
Perhaps one of the biggest milestones though that we've come through is to really build the company to a point where it's got its own defined culture. I think that's probably one of the milestones that I'm most proud of is that Hydrexia, we're now up to 10 people, and it's now got its own culture and now got the people who actually work there believing in Hydrexia and the company that we are.
What enterprise meant to us, it meant everything. It allowed us to go into full production and it allowed us to start exporting, which was always the main goal of the company. So about 4 months after this photo, we had our first sales. I was on a plane to the UK, and the whole ride had really begun.
I think probably the biggest impact and the way I guess it showed and helped was the fact that it gave some serious attention to Pepfactants, and we were able to attract further investment from from Uniseed and from Symbiosis to investors in this technology area. And as anyone would know, for companies like Pepfactants, investment is like oxygen.
What have been some of the biggest milestones since winning Enterprise?
Well, I mean, there's been a lot of things that have happened since winning Enterprise, but probably the biggest thing was one of our customers, Trilogy or GDev. They're the largest outsourcer in India. They've got 500 accounts with us. The other thing is we're now called Codesion. We're not CVSDude anymore. Codesion comes about because code, restore people's source code, and cohesion, bring that together. The other thing too is we moved to the US. We're now based in Redwood City near San Francisco. So we're very excited to be out there in the heart of all the action.
So shortly after we launched the product, I moved to the UK, and within 2 years we had secured many of the world's leading brands in professional sport, such as Manchester United, Chelsea Football Club, Arsenal, Tottenham Hotspurs, Blackburn Rovers, Aston Villa, and hundreds of now university sports institutes and professional teams around the world. Another thing that's changed for us now is our global distribution network. We now have distributors in 21 countries, and almost every week we have an application for a new territory somewhere in the world.
We started off at Enterprise with the material that had only been tested in very small quantities, gram quantities, and it had only ever been produced in small amounts. And now we are developing a system that is using about 250 odd kilograms of material, and we make the material in foundries that are produced in 60 or 70 kilogram lots. So that's an enormous amount to have been achieved in the last 3 or 4 years.
We started off with a bunch of old tangle wires in a box, soon moved on to a prototype that we could use in hospitals for clinical trials, and finally we've got it to a marketable medical product. We've also been granted patents in Australia as well as pending in Europe and the US. We've got 2 government grants that's really helped to snowball the development. And finally, we've had 2 clinical trials. The first one on able-bodied people to check that the device worked, that it was safe, and to establish what parameters were best. And then we also did a trial on unconscious people to make sure the device worked on its intended environment.
We've shown our technology is going to work in areas as diverse as industrial emulsions, personal hygiene products, and even agricultural sprays. And we've negotiated our first development deal with a personal hygiene company based in Europe. So the years of hard work are finally paying off, and we're about to see the fruit of our toil.
So we've looked at the sort of customer engagement. So we've engaged with more customers in different sectors such as industrial and mining, and sort of got some good relationships started there. We've also been building our management capability with sort of building some sort of sector expertise into the team, and we're just getting to the point now where we're finishing off that development of that first product, which we're really happy with, and we're pretty much ready to start our sort of pilot scale manufacture.
How hard was it in the first couple of years?
It was pretty hard in the first couple of years. We're faced with a whole lot of challenges. One of the big challenges actually was convincing investors that hydrogen is actually a real thing. It's a real technology, and the prospects of hydrogen are actually a lot closer than a lot of people think. Hydrogen has had a couple of false dawns already over the last 10 or 15 years, and that hasn't helped companies like us who have new technologies that we think can actually bring it a lot closer to a realisation.
I vividly remember turning up to a meeting at the iLab Business Incubator and presenting my idea to a group of very wise men in the business sector, and they asked me, did I have a marketing plan? To which I blushed and responded, what is a marketing plan?
Managing all these different roles, everything from sales to marketing, new features and bug fixing. It's all very time consuming and requires a lot of sort of time management and juggling. I also had a really good family and friends network and a real passion for surfing, which enabled me to have a good release from all that hard work.
I knew I had a great product, I just didn't know how to take it to market. I was learning on the fly about how to patent, how to manufacture, how to market a business, but I knew I had to learn more about business, so I enrolled in an MBA subject at the University of Queensland's Business School. A fantastic subject. I learned a lot about business, and it exposed me to the Enterprise Business Plan competition. and I eventually won it in 2004, and it's done amazing things for my business ever since.
What has been your worst mistake this far?
My biggest mistake in managing Medivations in the early years was not having the confidence to aggressively attack the development of the product. So I was at the start and I wanted to get to milestone 1. And what I did was do task 1, when that was finished I did task 2, and after that I did task 3. What I would do if I had my time again is from the beginning do a lot of tasks at the same time, getting me to the finish a lot more quickly.
I think the thing that we've struggled with most is getting in our own minds to talk about products and solutions rather than the technology itself. I think it's easy for early stage and startup companies to be very excited about technology but not understand how it actually relates to products and solutions that actually get developed in the real world and people will use.
If we had our time again, I think we probably would have spent more time with travelling and meeting with those industries a little bit earlier. It's tempting to wait until you understand your technology 100% and then go and visit them afterwards when you think you've got a better idea, I guess, of the applications. There's no substitute for physically travelling, getting on that plane and being in the face of these partner organisations. And they're in Europe and they're in the US, so get your passport ready.
When we got started and hit the market, everyone was very excited and we were selling to all these great customers, and people people made these projections for us that showed us, making millions of dollars in only a couple of years and all driving around in Ferraris and retiring early. Whereas in reality, the outcomes were more modest and more like this. So we learnt very early that to be modest about the business and just to keep working at it and live within our means and grow it as it grows.
One thing with a new idea, with a new technology, is that in the beginning you have all these ideas where you can implement the technology. The key is to talk to customers, potential customers, and then from this discussion choose a few target markets and discard the other ideas for later.
Not valuing the product correctly in the beginning has meant we haven't quite seen the ramp up that we'd like to have seen, and has caused us to look for VC funding, and before that we had to get angel funding. At the same time, it's hard to value a product in an untested market, a new market that's hasn't really existed before this.
What advice do you give to future enterprise applicants?
I think a key piece of advice is to be prepared to end up with a really good quality business plan that's really investment ready, which will make all of that hard work worthwhile.
Like they say with any kind of invention, it's 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. It's one thing to have a good idea, and that's the start, but from then you have to look at your business side of things, your market side of things, and if you underestimate those, you're not gonna win. So look at everything.
Get a mentor. There's no point in reinventing the wheel, and you can't do it all yourself. Learn from someone who's been there and done it before. About the actual application, put a great team around you that's got a great reputation, because it will make a difference. Prepare an in-depth business plan. I know it's tedious, but it will make a huge difference in the future. Thirdly, practice your pitch. Don't just talk about the product for 10 minutes. You have to talk about the business, and practice, because there's nothing worse than listening to a boring pitch. So be entertaining.
A business is like fighting your way through a jungle, a thick jungle you're fighting your way through. Now, what if you put in all that effort for many years to fight your way through that jungle and found you'd popped out the other end at the wrong spot? What the business plan is a map. It'll give you the direction to go through that jungle, so when you do get to the other end, you know you've arrived at the right place. So put a lot of effort into your business plan, stage it out step by step, and compare back to it to make sure that you're on the right path.
When I stood up, we spoke for 1 minute about our product and what we'd come up with, and we spent the rest of the 6 minutes discussing how we were actually going to build a business, how we were actually going to take this to market, employ people, build a team, and make money from the concept. And I think that was a key thing that many people forgot to do. In terms of general advice to the enterprise entrants, whether you win or lose, I think back to the first business mentor I ever had, and some great advice that he gave me. He said, throughout the life of your business, you will fall down at least 10 times before you eventually succeed. And the simple thing If you want to succeed, you just have to keep getting back up, and the people who keep getting up are the people who will succeed.